Hello, and welcome to the Verlicity AI podcast. I'm Christian Worthington, co-founder of Verlicity AI. I've spent years developing software systems, launching software as a service companies, and working with machine learning and AI-driven solutions.
And I'm Sandra Giffen, also co-founder at Verlicity AI. I'm a lawyer by training. I've launched 5 tech startups, but my passion is product development in the AI space.
Today, we're exploring a topic that's lighting up boardrooms, tech blogs, and investor calls: AI's looming disruption of the information as a service industry and how to fight back. We'll talk about how AI will transform the information as a service space, what we call InfoSaaS.
Right. But before we jump into the details, let's set the stage. You might be asking, what exactly is information as a service and why should I care? Don't worry, we'll get into all that. And by the end, we hope you'll see why, even if you're not in this sector, it will massively affect your life.
So, make yourself comfortable and get ready for what we hope will be a revealing journey into how AI is reshaping an industry that impacts us all and is worth well over $100 billion. Ready, Sandra?
Let's do it.
All right, so let's really explore this concept of information as a service, or InfoSaaS. This is an industry that impacts your life every day in so many ways. We're talking about businesses that collect and package data, analysis, or specialized insights as their core product. It's not just finance or obscure business applications, though that's huge. It's also education, healthcare, real estate, you name it. Every time you check the weather, you're a customer of the InfoSaaS industry.
Exactly. And the scale is enormous. Some estimates put the InfoSaaS sector at well over $100 billion globally. We're talking major dollars here, and a huge impact on the everyday lives of everyone on the planet.
And that's just the baseline. InfoSaaS is growing fast. Think about all the new subscription-based research tools, specialized databases, like gene sequencing data for biotech, or real-time cargo tracking for logistics. The demand for up-to-date, actionable information is skyrocketing. As the world's supply chains become more integrated and the global economy grows, the need for InfoSaaS has exploded.
Just look at education. In the modern world, online learning platforms that provide curated lessons, quizzes, or specialized knowledge libraries, that's also InfoSaaS. Now, imagine AI swooping in and aggregating 1 million lessons from across the web, delivering them in a personalized, voice-driven format. Suddenly, that specialized educational platform you built could be undercut by a general-purpose AI that's good enough for most students.
And in a nutshell, there's the hook. AI is getting so powerful, so broad, that it can replicate or approximate the specialized knowledge InfoSaaS companies have been selling. If you're an InfoSaaS provider, that's downright scary.
Now, even if you're listening and thinking, I'm not an InfoSaaS, you might still depend on these services. For example, your business might rely on syndicated market research or specialized forecasting tools, like shipping and logistics data that tells you where to route your products. If you're shopping for a home or checking the news online, you're also an InfoSaaS customer. If AI disrupts those InfoSaaS providers, your entire world might feel the ripple effect.
It's actually mind-blowing how many ways this impacts our lives. Consider the apps you use daily for budgeting, banking, or professional development. Those are often powered by data from InfoSaaS providers behind the scenes. So if AI disrupts them, it'll trickle down to everyday consumers in ways that are nearly impossible to predict. This tsunami is heading our way as we speak.
And let's talk about jobs. InfoSaaS supports millions of jobs worldwide: data analysts, sales reps, researchers, software developers. AI automating will outright replace some of the tasks these folks handle. We're looking at a workforce shift of epic proportions. That can be exciting and intimidating.
Plus, there's a moral angle. A lot of InfoSaaS companies gather, clean, and interpret data that's crucial for decision-making in healthcare, finance, or even disaster response. These are critical applications. If AI swoops in with good enough data but lacks proper validation, do we risk poor decisions?
Right. All of this is why we keep hammering home that the InfoSaaS disruption isn't a niche story. It's a society-wide story. If you're listening, we hope you're starting to appreciate the magnitude of this disruption. Maybe you're wondering, where's this going? Because trust me, we've got a lot more to unveil about how AI will rip billions of dollars from this sector, and we'll give you insights into what you can do if you're in the line of fire.
All right, this is going to be a big conversation, so let's move on to the basic setup. Let's discuss how AI is so effectively targeting InfoSaaS. Then we'll dig into agentic AI and the strategies for survival and success. This month, we had a perfect example of a huge industry in the InfoSaaS sector that was basically demolished. AI stepped in like a monster and crushed it in one blow.
This is starting to sound like the plot to a Godzilla movie.
Well, Google and Godzilla both start with the letter G, so maybe Godzilla isn't a bad metaphor. This month, Google's DeepMind announced that its GenCast project outperformed the top-tier European weather forecasting system by 20%.
That's massive, because weather forecasting is so complex. Pulling data from satellites, ground stations, ocean buoys, and countless other sources. If AI can outperform the best weather models humans have to offer, it suggests it could do the same in practically any other niche InfoSaaS sector. Finance, logistics, healthcare, you name it.
Yes, this is the shot heard around the world. If you're in the InfoSaaS industry and this news didn't cause you to wake up, nothing will. This news particularly spells danger for the InfoSaaS companies who've been telling themselves, my process is too complex for anyone else to do. The biggest supercomputers in the world are used for weather forecasting. This is crazy.
Clearly. This one event proved that AI can arguably do one of the most computatively demanding tasks in the world, faster, cheaper, and at scale. And the technology is improving daily. To extend the Godzilla analogy, each time AI makes an achievement of this kind, its power grows. An AI that can forecast the weather more accurately than the best models previously developed by humans can grow even more powerful.
Just think of the use cases for weather information. Many InfoSaaS companies use weather forecasts as a basis for deeper insights. So each time LLMs reach a point where they can outperform established InfoSaaS businesses, they are simultaneously coming closer to replacing other InfoSaaS companies that rely on the information being produced. It's an ecosystem. When one part of the ecosystem is disrupted, the disruption is felt throughout.
Yes, and this gets really interesting when you combine large language models and agentic AI, where the AI not only analyzes but also takes actions on your behalf. Agentic AI is a one-stop shop for queries, analysis, and even generating entire reports or strategies. We're talking about the bread and butter of many InfoSaaS businesses.
So if you're in InfoSaaS, you're probably a little uneasy right now, but do not despair. It's not just doom and gloom. Later on, we'll talk about ways to adapt.
And we'll also get deeper into agentic AI, which I find particularly scary for a lot of data-centric businesses. Because if clients can train their own AI agent to do specialized tasks they once paid to receive from InfoSaaS services, well, let's just say that doesn't end well for the InfoSaaS company.
Now, let's switch to how agentic AI specifically commoditizes data for almost any industry sector. Let's start by explaining generally what we mean by agentic AI in this context. Agentic AI basically means an AI that can act semi-autonomously. It's not just spitting out answers to your questions, it can crawl data sources, compile data, generate entire reports, and even make some decisions and take actions. Right, Sandra?
Yes, legally speaking, it raises all sorts of questions about liability, data ownership, and intellectual property. But from a business angle, it means your customers could replicate the core function of an InfoSaaS provider by using an AI agent that costs them next to nothing beyond the initial training and data acquisition.
Let's say you're a real estate analytics firm that sells monthly property market reports for $500 each. If I can spin up an AI agent, feed it publicly available listings, plus some extra data I buy once, boom, I can get a near equivalent report at negligible cost.
And if that AI agent is shareable, we're talking a domino effect throughout the industry. Suddenly, your once high-margin subscription service faces competition from a free or nearly free AI tool.
That's not a hypothetical scenario either. We've already seen open-source LLMs spread like wildfire. It only takes one savvy developer, or even a university student, as you said earlier, to package up a specialized agent and publish it to the world.
If you think agentic AI is way off in the future, think again. Google is financing developers to create agents that will run on Gemini and deliver services formerly performed by InfoSaaS providers. We're in the early days of a gold rush. The AI companies are racing to find ways to monetize their services. InfoSaaS companies are going to lose a lot of market share in this gold rush. The gold AI is mining is the revenue currently earned by InfoSaaS companies.
Right. I'm reminded of the years following the release of the Apple and Android app stores. It wasn't long before there were 2 million apps. Imagine a world in which there are 2 million AI agents doing everything imaginable. As they say, AI is the everything app.
I'm caused to wonder, how many InfoSaaS services will these AI agents eliminate? So now let's pivot to real estate specifically. It's a great example of how big this disruption will get.
So, real estate. People think it's about property, brokers, and showings, but in reality, a massive data industry underpins the real estate market. Right, Sandra?
Absolutely. Firms like Zillow, CoStar, and Redfin rely heavily on proprietary data, home valuations, transactional histories, hyperlocal factors like school districts or crime stats. That's InfoSaaS. They gather from MLS listings, government records, public record, and user inputs.
Now imagine an AI that can scrape publicly available listings, cross-reference them with social media data, local news about upcoming developments, crime stats from open data sets, and overlay market trends. You could get near-instant valuations or market forecasts for a fraction of the cost or free.
Which means a casual house hunter or a competitor could replicate a large chunk of what these real estate data companies do. If those companies haven't protected or enhanced the value of their proprietary data, they could see a massive hit to their subscription revenue.
You also have the phenomenon where small local brokerages might combine their data, feed it into an AI, and create a community-based real estate AI agent, effectively crowdsourcing the entire domain.
And if you're an InfoSaaS provider, don't think for a minute that your proprietary data is somehow special. Big players like Google have ways of generating your data that you may not expect.
Absolutely. Google can cobble together the information by looking at search data. For example, Google can detect seasonal flu outbreaks before the CDC because Google has real-time data on people searching for symptoms. It's not hard to see that Google's Gemini could have insights into every imaginable health data set, not to mention crime data, information about schools, and every other domain that people need to know about before they buy a house.
Exactly. And from a legal standpoint, Real estate data can be subject to local or regional restrictions, like buyer privacy or data protection rules. So that's one angle that could slow down AI's complete takeover. But it's not a guaranteed moat if open sources are robust enough.
Hence the moral of this story. No matter your brand, your historical dominance, or your trust factor, an AI agent might commoditize your entire niche, which is why we keep saying this wave is unstoppable. We can't bury our heads in the sand. Now, let's talk about a concept we call feeding the beast. Sandra, can you break down that idea for us from a legal and strategic standpoint?
Sure. Feeding the beast refers to how InfoSaaS providers might unintentionally train public AI platforms with their proprietary data. For example, if you're an InfoSaaS company using ChatGPT or Gemini to enhance your service and provide a natural language interface for your clients, you may be handing over your data and your analysis workflows to the AI. Services like ChatGPT and Gemini train their models using the queries users enter and the data they provide with queries.
Yes, and it's going to get a lot worse in the near future. Large language models are running out of data they can crawl from the internet, so the AI companies are looking for new ways to train their models using so-called synthetic data the AI creates. The AIs will soon be using a technique called self-learning, where the AI will learn from the answers it gives users when they create queries, a concept called inference training. This means that if an InfoSaaS company integrates a public AI like ChatGPT or Gemini into its service, the AI will learn from the user's queries. It will also learn from the data provided during queries and from the answers the AI generates.
In other words, the AI will get smarter with each interaction.
The InfoSaaS company might integrate these tools to improve its reports and gain competitive advantage in the short term. But in the long term, these tools will give the AI insider knowledge it needs to replicate the entire service.
Yes, and from a legal perspective, it's a nightmare. You might be violating client confidentiality or data protection laws if you upload sensitive data to a public LLM. Even if the AI platform claims it anonymizes data, that's never a guarantee in practice.
So we come back to that Warren Buffett quote. If you've been playing poker for half an hour and you still don't know who the patsy is, you're the patsy. If you just toss your proprietary data into a public AI, you might be training your future competitor.
Exactly. And we see parallels with Amazon analyzing sellers and launching competing products. The difference is that with AI, replication of data or insights is near zero cost. So the strategic lesson is, be careful. Don't be the patsy. We've touched on this briefly, but it's crucial. As AI becomes good enough, the perceived value of InfoSaaS or specialized real estate analytics can erode quickly.
Historically, InfoSaaS companies provided expert curation or specialized insights. Now, AI can automate much of that curation. Even if the AI's answers aren't perfect, they're often close enough.
Right. Like how free online news essentially gutted the newspaper subscription market. As soon as the AI can produce something close to your specialized report for free, your customers are going to ask, why pay so much?
Which is exactly why we talk about being more than just a data vendor. InfoSaaS companies need to deliver deeper results, validated analytics, and they need to more closely integrate into their clients' workflows, things that a general AI can't replicate easily. Economists and business experts call this strategy retreating upmarket.
When a market gets crowded and competitive pressure grows, a company can respond by focusing on a higher-end segment of the market by offering a premium product or service at a higher price point. For example, a car manufacturer might introduce a luxury model with advanced features, or a supermarket chain might open a gourmet store with a focus on specialty foods. By moving upmarket, the InfoSaaS company can fortify their defense against the AI barbarians at the gate.
And there's another key benefit to retreating upmarket. If the InfoSaaS company can provide a higher value service that's customized to their client's needs and integrates more tightly with the client's business, the InfoSaaS company can become an integral part of its client's workflow. Services that are highly integrated into a client's workflow are harder to disconnect because they are woven into the fabric of the business. So offering upmarket features can become a barrier to exit for clients thinking about switching to an AI agent.
Yes, and real estate is a perfect example. If AI can provide near-instant home valuations, many casual users will skip paying for a specialized platform. The same phenomenon can happen in finance or healthcare analytics. Providing simple answers to questions isn't going to be enough for InfoSaaS companies to survive in the future.
Now let's shift from the doom and gloom to the silver lining. AI's weaknesses can be an opportunity for InfoSaaS. We listed 3 in our article on the Verlicity.ai website: query engineering complexity, limited access to proprietary datasets, validation, and accuracy.
Let's expand each. Query engineering complexity means you can't just type one question and expect a polished, business-ready result. You might need elaborate prompt chains, multiple data sources, or domain knowledge. That's where an InfoSaaS service can charge a premium for specialized workflow orchestration.
Then there's limited access to proprietary datasets. If the InfoSaaS company owns or licenses a unique high-quality dataset, like off-market real estate data or specialized financial metrics, AI alone may not be able to replicate that. If the InfoSaaS company keeps this data private and doesn't share it with a public AI, it can maintain a moat around its greatest asset. Make no mistake, data is gold in the AI economy.
And validation and accuracy is big. AI can't inherently tell if it's correct. It can make crazy mistakes with extreme confidence. If you have robust processes for double-checking or cross-verifying, you provide trust.
Absolutely. So InfoSaaS can pivot from selling raw data to selling validated insights with a user-friendly AI interface as a bonus. That synergy is powerful. So we teased these earlier, but let's detail them more. The 5 measures you need to employ to stay ahead of AI. 1. Evolve from data vending to results delivery and tight integration with your clients' workflows. 2. Implement private AI environments so you don't feed the beast. 3. Build accurate validation. Workflows. 4. Enhance your data ecosystem. And 5. Offer natural language-driven interfaces and confidentiality. Let's walk through each step carefully and talk about the legal and technical angles.
1. Evolve from data vending to results delivery. If you're just selling raw or lightly processed data, an AI can replicate it fast. Instead, deliver actionable results that integrate into your client's workflow. For instance, a real estate firm might offer dashboards that feed directly into a client's CRM or marketing platform, providing near real-time buyer demographics.
Or for finance, you might give automated strategy recommendations that feed directly into a client's workflows, not just stock tickers. The deeper you integrate into your customer's decision-making workflow, the harder it is for them to replace you with a generic AI agent.
2. Implement private AI environments. This is huge legally. Self-hosting your AI means you control your data fully. No strip mining of proprietary data and personal information by public AI. Plus, you can meet compliance needs more easily if you're in finance or healthcare.
Yes, self-hosted open-source models like Llama can be tuned with your data. Then you serve it behind your firewall. No competitor learns from your queries. No data leaks to train the next big public model.
3. Build accurate validation workflows. AI hallucinations are real, especially if it's pulling from partially incorrect sources. So you can insert automated checks with APIs to your proprietary data that cross-references known truths. that trust layer is your competitive advantage.
Absolutely. If you're in real estate, you might have a proprietary process for validating valuations above a certain threshold, or you may even require a human to intercede in certain cases. Or in finance, you can cross-check AI outputs with official SEC filings. That's not something a typical ChatGPT user can easily replicate.
4. Enhance your data ecosystem. Keep adding curated data sources, maybe city permits, local regulations, social media sentiment, stored in advanced formats like vector databases. The deeper and better your data store, the more value you add beyond raw AI queries.
Yes, in real estate, that might include real-time zoning changes or up-to-date mortgage rate data. In finance, it's real-time market feeds plus proprietary analytics on company fundamentals. You become a one-stop data environment that's tough for a generic AI to mimic.
5. Offer natural language-driven interfaces and confidentiality. Users increasingly expect chat-style interactions. If you don't provide a chat GPT like front end to your service, you might seem old-fashioned, but crucially, keep it private.
Think of it this way. In the 1990s, businesses without a website looked outdated. Now, businesses without an AI-based interface might seem behind. Provide that convenience securely, and you stand out. Let's bring this to life with some examples. In finance, major players like Bloomberg and FactSet rely on selling curated data and analysis. They're now investing in private large language models to keep their advantage.
Yes, because they realize if they let a public AI see their entire data set, they'd lose the moat. So they keep everything behind closed doors, ensuring they remain the gold standard for validated financial insights. Legally, it's also simpler because they can guarantee compliance with regulations like SEC guidelines.
And in real estate, Zillow brought massive convenience to home searches, showing estimates. But if an open source AI taps into the same listing data, plus new scraping methods, maybe they combine social media posts about neighborhood development, it could generate an even sharper estimate at zero cost.
Right. So if Zillow or any competitor doesn't protect or further enrich their data, an agentic AI could replicate or surpass them. That's the difference between giving a buyer a list of homes and tailoring an entire home buying strategy using private real-time data, local trends, and individualized financial profiles.
Meanwhile, Gartner predicts that by 2027, most large enterprises will run on hybrid AI stacks. InfoSaaS providers that adapt can help integrate open-source LLMs with proprietary data. That's a big market opportunity if you pivot properly.
And from a legal viewpoint, privacy laws like GDPR in Europe or HIPAA in healthcare can require self-hosted or specialized AI solutions. So, if you're an InfoSaaS or real estate firm dealing with sensitive data, you might actually have a legal advantage by going private.
Yes, you can say to clients, look, if you feed your data to ChatGPT, you risk regulatory breaches. But with our private environment, you comply with local data protection laws and keep your data safe. That's a differentiator, a real selling point. Sandra, you're our in-house legal expert. So let's really open a can of worms here. You've identified some legal pitfalls of using a public AI, like HIPAA, GDPR, and protecting sensitive data. But I want to go deeper. Suppose an InfoSaaS or real estate provider just charges ahead with public AI integrations. What's the worst that could happen?
Oh, there's a lot that can go wrong. Let's unpack the biggest concerns: data protection and privacy laws, loss of trade secrets and intellectual property, contractual obligations and liability for AI-generated output, regulatory compliance and licensing, derivative works and ownership issues, and potential for class action lawsuits. I'll break these down one by one. First up is data protection. This is probably the most immediate landmine. If you're uploading personal data, like customer names, addresses, or transaction details, into a public LLM like ChatGPT or Gemini, you could be breaching regulations like the GDPR in the EU, CCPA in California, or similar local laws elsewhere. Why? Because these laws require consent, data minimization, and strict handling rules. If the data ends up commingled in the AI's training set, you might lose control over it. Even if the platform promises anonymization, that's not always foolproof. Re-identification attacks are real, and regulators have been ramping up fines for mishandling.
So, in practical terms, if an info SaaS company feeds a spreadsheet of user data into ChatGPT to generate a specialized report, they might be breaching GDPR's principle of lawful basis for processing personal data, right?
Exactly. Under the GDPR, you typically need a valid lawful basis, like consent or legitimate interest, for every use of personal data. Uploading it to a public LLM might not fit those criteria, especially if the LLM provider uses the data for its own model improvements. And if your users find out, you could face hefty fines. The GDPR can go up to 4% of global annual turnover. That's enough to bankrupt many info SaaS providers. Second, there's loss of trade secrets. If your secret sauce is how you aggregate or analyze data, feeding that know-how into a public AI can effectively donate it to the AI's future training. Once it's in the model, it's arguably no longer secret, undermining your legal rights to protection under trade secret laws.
So you're saying once it's out there in the public model, I can't later claim that's my proprietary workflow, stop using it because it's been absorbed by the AI.
Exactly. Trade secret law says you must take reasonable measures to keep information confidential. Uploading it to a third-party LLM might fail that test. Plus, if the AI starts reproducing your methodology for other users, even inadvertently, you lose that exclusivity. It's a nightmare for info SaaS firms whose entire business model hinges on unique data processes.
And from an intellectual property angle, like patents, similar issues arise if you disclose proprietary methods to an AI without a confidentiality framework. You might inadvertently cause a public disclosure that invalidates your patent claims.
Third, we have contractual obligations and liability for AI outputs. Many info SaaS companies have contracts guaranteeing certain levels of accuracy or confidentiality. If you start integrating public AI, can you still meet those accuracy or confidentiality clauses? Possibly not. And what if the AI's advice is flawed, causing real harm? Like a major investor making a bad decision based on an AI-written market report. The client might sue the info SaaS provider, claiming breach of contract or negligence. You can't just point at ChatGPT and say, blame them, because you chose to rely on it.
Yeah, that's rough. Legally, the info SaaS provider might remain the face of the service, even if the AI is under the hood. So the lawsuits come your way, not the AI vendors.
Right. In many jurisdictions, you can't easily offload your contractual obligations onto a third-party software tool, especially if you didn't disclose that you were using a public AI. That might also be seen as misrepresentation if you guaranteed you'd keep the data private or validated. Fourth is regulatory compliance and licensing. Certain info SaaS niches, like financial data providers, operate under strict licensing frameworks. For instance, if you're providing investment advice in the US, you might need to register as an investment advisor. If you suddenly rely on an AI that isn't licensed, you could be offering unregistered or even illegal services.
So in finance, handing over proprietary data to an unlicensed AI platform could land you in hot water with the SEC or FINRA. And similarly, in healthcare, you'd have HIPAA issues or the FDA for certain kinds of medical AI advice.
The FDA is already regulating software as a medical device. If your InfoSaaS tool claims to diagnose patients or recommend treatments, and you rely on a public AI not cleared by the FDA, that's a major compliance breach. You might face fines or be forced to pull your product off the market. Fifth, there's the murky area of derivative works and ownership of AI-generated content. If you feed your data into an AI model, who owns the outputs? Are they considered derivative works of your proprietary data or the AI's original creations? The law isn't fully settled.
So you could end up in a dispute. The InfoSaaS company claims the AI output is theirs because it's based on their data set, while the AI platform might claim it's new AI-generated content.
And if the AI platform's terms of service say it can use your data to improve its models or create new content, you might have no recourse if they transform your proprietary info into something they license out to others. It's a major risk. Lastly, let's talk about the class action lawsuits angle. If a large group of users feels that your AI-driven service, powered by a public LLM, mishandled their personal data or provided dangerously inaccurate info, they could form a class action. This is especially relevant if a breach affects thousands or millions of records at once.
That could be devastating. One AI slip-up at scale could harm many.
And class actions often result in hefty settlements. Just imagine if an AI-based real estate platform gave faulty valuations that led thousands of homeowners to make bad financial decisions. If it's traceable to your integration with a public AI that used incomplete or unverified data, you might be on the hook for damages.
This is all pretty overwhelming. So, what are some best practices if an InfoSaaS company must use public AI or AI in general?
Here's a quick roadmap. 1. Conduct a formal risk assessment. Identify which data is too sensitive to share, which legal frameworks apply, GDPR, HIPAA, SEC, etc., and the maximum potential damages if a breach occurs. 2. Use robust NDAs and access controls. If you must partner with public AI vendors, ensure you have NDAs spelling out that they cannot use your data for model training beyond your own needs. Configure strict access controls so only minimal data is shared. 3. Segment your data. Keep especially sensitive or proprietary data sets off limits to the AI. Maybe you only provide anonymized or aggregated subsets. If you share partial data, label it clearly so you don't accidentally upload the wrong fields. 4. Implement a human in the loop. For critical outputs, have a subject matter expert verify or refine the AI's results. This helps maintain quality and shows regulators you're not blindly relying on AI. 5. Document everything. Maintain logs of what data was shared, when and for what purpose. That paper trail is crucial if regulators or clients come knocking. 6. Private AI as a safer alternative. Whenever possible, self-host an AI model so you fully control the environment. That way, you're not subject to a platform's terms of service or data mining practices. 7. Stay current with AI-related regulations. Governments are introducing new rules for AI. Keep an eye on proposals like the EU's AI Act. Adapt quickly to remain compliant.
I like that approach. It's thorough. And from a technical standpoint, using private AI also solves a lot of compliance headaches. Plus, you don't risk training a competitor's model.
Precisely. Of course, private AI is more resource-intensive, servers, GPUs, maintenance. But for many InfoSaaS providers, the cost of public AI strip mining your data might be far worse in the long run. I want to stress, I'm not giving you legal advice. If you're considering this type of integration, you need to consult your attorney.
Wow, we've covered a massive amount of ground today. From the mind-bending scale of information as a service to the raw power of agentic AI, and even the deep legal complexities that surround it all. Before we let you go, we want to spend some quality time tying these threads together. Think of this segment as a grand finale, where we spotlight exactly why this is all so important and why the future isn't all doom and gloom for InfoSaaS.
Let's start by revisiting the scale. We've talked about how InfoSaaS, information as a service, is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Some estimates even put it north of $100 billion worldwide. That's about the size of some of the most recognizable sectors on the planet, from coffee shops to HVAC systems. But it's not just the raw dollars that matter, it's the complex web of services, from weather forecasting and financial analysis to real estate insights and specialized education platforms. These services touch our daily lives in ways we often take for granted.
Think about it. Each time you check the weather, access a property listing on Zillow, monitor a stock ticker on Bloomberg, or even consult a travel aggregator for flight prices, you're essentially tapping into an InfoSaaS product. Multiply that by billions of actions daily across the globe, and you see how deeply woven InfoSaaS is into modern society. Then AI storms onto the scene, particularly agentic AI, capable of not just answering queries, but also executing tasks. And suddenly, the entire ecosystem stands on the brink of profound transformation.
But here's the tension. InfoSaaS companies have historically thrived on specialized data, curated insights, and domain expertise. Now, AI can approximate or even surpass many of those services, sometimes in a matter of days or weeks. That might sound terrifying if you rely on subscription fees for specialized reports, or if you're a data aggregator for a niche market. Yet, we believe there's a silver lining. And that's what we want to drive home now.
Yeah, it's vital to appreciate the sheer magnitude of the shift we're facing, like a digital Cambrian explosion, if you will. We're talking about entire verticals reimagined: real estate, finance, healthcare data, supply chain insights, education platforms, and more. If you're an executive, entrepreneur, or even an employee in these fields, it can feel like the ground is moving under your feet.
But let's remember, disruption doesn't always mean annihilation. In many historical shifts, the printing press, the internet, cloud computing, there have been winners and losers, but also new avenues for growth. The same holds true here. While lower-value InfoSaaS offerings might get commoditized, the high-value services will likely prevail. Think about how newspapers who pivoted to strong digital subscriptions with premium content could still thrive, or how certain e-commerce platforms rose to dominate after the dot-com bubble.
So, if you're worried about losing your competitive edge, realize there's a path forward. But it involves embracing AI, not hiding from it. We've touched on strategies: pivoting to private AI environments, developing robust validation workflows, focusing on proprietary data that can't be easily scraped or replicated, and embedding yourself deeper into client workflows to become indispensable.
And let's not forget the legal dimension. As we discussed in our expanded on the legal implications, there's a lot at stake. Data privacy, regulatory compliance, trade secret protection, and more. However, that legal structure doesn't just pose risks. It can also create barriers to entry for your would-be AI competitors. By establishing a reputation for compliance and data integrity, you become a trusted provider in an AI-driven world where trust is increasingly rare.
Now, we want to highlight how Verlicity.ai fits into this bigger picture. One reason we're so passionate about InfoSaaS is that we're actively working to help businesses adapt, whether you're in real estate, finance, healthcare, or any data-centric field. We focus on self-hosted private AI solutions because we know how risky it is to feed your data to a public platform. Our platform is designed with privacy, control, and real-time integration in mind, so you can harness the power of AI without strip mining your data.
Exactly. At Verlicity.ai, we help InfoSaaS companies build secure AI interfaces that keep proprietary data in-house while still offering that modern, user-friendly experience clients expect. Whether that's implementing a ChatGPT-like front end on top of a curated private data set, or setting up advanced analytics workflows that combine domain expertise with machine learning, we're all about bridging that gap between raw AI power and robust, validated InfoSaaS services.
We're also big believers in real-time data integration. InfoSaaS thrives on fresh data, whether it's property listings, market trends, or consumer sentiment. Our solutions pull from your unique data sources, keep them continuously updated, and feed them into a self-hosted AI pipeline so your clients get near-instant insights, validated and double-checked. That's how you stay ahead of generic, outdated public models.
And let's talk about the workforce aspect for a moment. We know a lot of data analysts, sales reps, and researchers worry about being replaced by AI. Our perspective is that while some roles will change, there's an incredible opportunity for professionals to reposition themselves as AI consultants or data orchestration experts, leveraging AI to produce greater value faster. If you're listening and you're anxious, remember, you can become the human that trains, audits, or complements the AI, and that expertise is indispensable.
That's an important point. Historically, every wave of tech disruption has phased out certain jobs but created new ones. We believe that in the next decade, InfoSaaS roles might evolve to focus on domain-specific AI management, legal compliance within data workflows, and specialized data stewardship, all of which remain highly valuable. If you stay curious and adaptable, you can flourish.
So, we want to leave you with the understanding that while AI will disrupt InfoSaaS, the future isn't bleak. In fact, for those who embrace these changes, it could be incredibly bright, like forging new paths in a frontier economy. Think of how many industries expanded when the internet became ubiquitous. The same can happen here.
Absolutely. High-value services, the kind that solve complex real-world problems, will always command a premium. People pay for trust, expertise, and validated results. AI can be a tool in your arsenal, but your human insight, your specialized data, and your brand reputation still matter. You can even charge more for a premium service that's guaranteed to be accurate, private, and compliant with regulations, while a generic AI might not meet those standards.
So, let's tie it all back. The InfoSaaS industry is gigantic and touches nearly every part of our modern life. Yes, AI can disrupt it, and dramatically so. But there's a path forward if you focus on delivering results over raw data, securing your workflows, leveraging private AI, and forging deeper relationships with your clients. That's where Verlicity.ai is deeply invested, helping you evolve to meet this next wave of AI-driven opportunity.
And with that, we conclude our deep dive series on AI's looming disruption of the InfoSaaS industry and how to fight back. We hope you come away feeling not only aware of the challenges, but also empowered by the possibilities. Remember, the best way to face disruption is to get ahead of it, to seize the moment, adapt your business model, and unleash the power of AI in a responsible and strategic way.
On behalf of Verlicity.ai, I want to thank you for joining us on this journey. We're here to partner with you if you need help navigating the strategic hurdles of modern InfoSaaS. Our door's always open, so don't hesitate to reach out.
Yes, absolutely. I'm Christian Worthington.
And I'm Sandra Giffen. Thank you for tuning in to the Verlicity.ai podcast. Stay informed, stay flexible, and as always, stay innovative. And please consider subscribing and share this episode with your friends and colleagues. Until next time.